Movement of the 2nd Marine Division. The 2nd Marine Division was to commence loading on 21 July from the seaplane ramp in Saipan's Tanapag Harbor. Troops were to be loaded into LCIs for transfer to transports. The 4th Marine Division was to begin embarkation on LST 23 July, using LVTs to transfer from yellow and red beaches on Saipan to the LST. The principal base for supplies was to be Saipan, augmented by shipping and transport areas available and appropriate. For the assault, prescribed items on the person and in manned vehicles. Narrow beaches dictated at all follow-up supplies were to cross the beach, mobile loaded direct to dumps or units. Supply plans were based upon the prompt installation of 2 prefabricated pontoon crossways and delivery across them of loaded trucks ferried from Saipan via LSTs, LCTs, and LCMs, and also for delivery of supplies from LSTs direct to beach dumps via LVTs and ducks. The big unknown was the weather. Careful check was kept on this by Simpax Weather Central and by local aerologists. Commander Task Force 51 directed patrol planes searching from westward to take special weather observation with a view of detecting indications of disturbance, and particularly to detect any large swells which might be moving from the southwestward. A reasonable assurance of 3 days good weather was considered essential before the initiation of assault operation. Plans were prepared to cover the contingency of bad weather after the landing. Jig Day was the day on which initial landings were to be made on Tinian, and tentatively set on 24 July 1944, east longitude date. Howe hour was the hour of the principal landings on Tinian and was 0730 Jig Day. On the nights of 10-11 and 11-12 July, the 5th Fib Corps Reconnaissance Battalion conducted reconnaissance of yellow and white beaches on Tinian. LCRs launched from APDs approached to within 400 yards of the beaches, from where scouts swam the remaining distance and accomplished their mission without casualty or detection. Long-range bombardment of Tinian from Saipan began to reach a climax on Jig-9. Units of northern troops and landing force embarked from Saipan beaches, commencing on Jig-3 days, 21 July. The following shipping and landing crafts were available for the operation: 9 APAs, 2 LSDs, 37 LSTs, 31 LCIs, 20 LCTs, 130 ducks, 195 LCMs, 9 pontoon barges, 527 LVTs, of which 459 LVTs were cargo and 68 LVTs were armored. The 2nd Marine Division embarked 2 regiments in APAs, and 1 regiment remained on Saipan. The LSTs were all top deck preloaded with supplies. No supplies were carried that could not roll across the beach in ducks or LVTs to inland dumps. The 4th Marine Division was embarked in LSTs. From Jig-3 to Jig Day, Corps artillery fired more than 324 missions. During the night of 23 July, Jig-1, underwater demolition teams conducted reconnaissance of beaches White 1 and 2, and also the beaches of Tinian Town. Results of the reconnaissance on beaches off Tinian Town were negative. On beaches White 1 and 2, some mines were found on the reef. It was not possible to remove these mines entirely prior to landing. On the morning of Jig Day, 24 July 1944, The weather was fair. Visibility generally 15 miles. Slight sea swell from the northeast. Wind south, average 15 knots. The tactical groups arrived in their assigned areas off the beaches at 0600 and immediately began launching LVTs. At the same time, a sweep for mines off white beaches was begun and completed as scheduled. LSTs Ashland and Belgrove arrived in the area at 0600 and commenced launching LCMs with tanks. Control vessels took their assigned stations. The concentration of explosives in the beach area immediately preceding the landing was very heavy. Supporting the assault waves and firing in the vicinity of the landing beaches were 96 105mm howitzers, 36 155mm howitzers, and 24 155mm guns. 2 battleships, 1 heavy cruiser, and 4 destroyers delivered fire and supported the landing, lying to in assigned stations close to the beaches and the boat lanes. At 0730, because of a delay in formation of initial assault waves, CTF-52 announced a delay at Howe Hour of 10 minutes. New Howe Hour, 0740. The first wave was dispatched at 0717. Subsequent waves were dispatched on time to meet the new Howe Hour. 30 LCIs supported the landing with rocket and 40mm gunfire. Part of the LCIs led the LVT assault waves to the beach. The remaining LCIs moved toward the beaches outside the boat lanes and delivered close support fire on the flanks. In this operation, LCI 460 was hit by enemy gunfire, which wounded 2 enlisted men seriously. No other supporting ship was hit. Sporadic enemy gunfire in the boat lanes was ineffective. The strong tidal current setting northward across the boat lanes made it difficult for the initial LVT waves to maintain the proper direction. The first wave landed on Beach White 1 at 0742. On Beach White 2 at 0750. The assault regiment on Beach White 1 landed in column of battalions. On Beach White 2, 2 battalions abreast. It was known in advance there were anti-boat mines on Beach White 2. For these reasons, troops were instructed to disembark from LVTs at the water's edge, making their way inland between boulders. LVTs were instructed not to land until the beaches had been cleared of mines. In spite of these precautions, 2 LVTs were blown up by mines on Beach White 2 on Jig Day. Engineers removed 15 anti-boat mines from this beach, all vary between high and low water marks. At the same time, a demonstration was being executed off Tinian Town. A simultaneous landing wave circled as though in preparation for coming ashore. This demonstration encountered heavy enemy fire, which damaged 1 battleship and 1 cruiser. Our vessels continued this feint until 1000 and then withdrew. On beaches White 1 and 2, only slight resistance was met by troops of the 4th Division. Such rapid advancement was made that by 1200, the reserve regiment of the 4th Division commenced landing. After clearing the reef and landing beaches of mines, 2 companies of tanks came ashore. It was then 1600. 2 hours later, the first elements of the 2nd Marine Division commenced landing. Day's end found us with essential toehold secured on Tinian Island. Plans for improving the beaches were put into effect without delay. 2 LCTs had been preloaded with bulldozers, tractors, and other shore party equipment. This equipment was landed early in the afternoon of Jig Day and set to work at once clearing road exits and improving beaches. The 2 pontoon causeway piers previously made ready were towed from Saipan and arrived prior to dawn. It was realized that maximum advantage had to be taken of the good weather and favorable sea conditions then obtained, since even a moderate swell would interfere seriously with unloading on the exposed beaches. Maximum effort was made to prepare the beaches for earliest possible landing of supplies and equipment. This procedure paid dividends later. The first night ashore, determined enemy groups armed with machine guns infiltrated Marine lines and fired into rear areas at artillery and their installations. Throughout the night, severe counterattacks were experienced, supported by many tanks. As the first streaks of dawn appeared, the Jap attacks increased to maximum intensity. The morning of Jig +1 found the field strewn with enemy dead. The Japs had lost more than 500 killed and several tanks knocked out. At 0830, 3 destroyers stood offshore and began a 1 hour and 15-minute preparation bombardment for the morning attack. 1 battleship and 5 destroyers provided call fire, while beach supporting fires were provided by 2 cruisers. At 1000, troops of the 4th Division jumped off to the attack. The going was tough and in some spots slow. Chief resistance came mainly from Japs and placed in caves among the cliffs, which faced the troops on the south. On the edges of the Yushi Point airfield, the enemy stubbornly resisted. 2 regiments of the 2nd Marine Division were landed during the day. Japs continued to pound the beaches with artillery and mortar fire. This restricted the flow of supplies accordingly. All 75mm pack howitzers battalions were ashore by mid-afternoon. The orders were issued immediately to commence landing the 105mm howitzer battalions of the 14th Marines. Anxious to gain control of the Yushi Point airfield and seize the 4th beachhead line, troops attack at 0800 Jig +2 day with 2 divisions abreast. Carrier and land-based planes joined in the attack with excellent results. In addition to normal strafing and bombing missions, land-based planes dropped incendiaries, employing both napalm and gas diesel-filled belly tanks. Progress was rapid along the entire front. By 1000, the Yushi Point airfield had been captured. 2 hours later, the 03 line, the assigned objective, had been reached. The troops were then ordered to advance south at the discretion of division commander.